Commissioner Tootin, I want to start with you. Last Congress, as you know, we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which included $4 billion in funding for reclamation to address declining water levels because of the drought, primarily, of course, in the Colorado River Basin. We're all thankful, of course, this year for much-needed rain and snow, and as you and I have talked about, one wet season does not counter the driest 23-year period ever recorded in that basin. We do need long-term solutions to effectively manage that water and adjust for the impacts of climate change. Can you explain how the supplemental environmental impact statement that was released earlier this month fits into those efforts and highlight other steps that you're taking to increase our water security and resilience?
Thank you for that question, Madam Chair. With regard to the Colorado River Basin and the Inflation Reduction Act, within 60 days of the President signing the Inflation Reduction Act into law, we had a request for proposals for what we call short-term bridging water. And we're happy to announce as part of that last month, it's actually still this month, we announced 125,000 acre-feet commitment by the Gila River Indian community, which amounts to about $50 million. What that means in Lake Mead is about 2 feet of elevation in the short term. We've also committed $250 million for the Salton Sea because impacts as far as to the sea result at the sea as a result of conservation efforts and less water into the system. And we've also stood up $125 million for a system conservation program in the Upper Basin. As it relates to the supplemental EIS that we released earlier this month, as the efforts that we have, whether in short-term bridging water and our long-term investments in sustainable infrastructure, help to keep water levels higher in Mead. And our ability to keep levels high so that we can continue to operate, whether that's through voluntary measures or investments in infrastructure, help with the process and coming to a consensus solution in the basin. And we're committed to that. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. As you know, the Columbia River Basin provides significant habitat for salmon and other endangered species. It irrigates 600,000 acres of farmland. It serves as a water highway and provides electricity to the majority of the region. I wanted to ask Commissioner Tootin and Assistant Secretary Connor, I know your teams have been working diligently to reach a new agreement with Canada on the Columbia River Treaty. As those negotiations continue, would you commit to keeping me updated on the progress of that and let us know if there's anything we can do to assist your efforts? Commissioner,
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. A modernized treaty is incredibly important. We will keep you informed. I'm committed to that.
Yes.
Us as well, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. This is so important. We've got to stay apprised of this progress, and it needs to, we need to keep moving on this, so I appreciate that. Assistant Secretary Connor, I consistently hear from our ports and harbors across the country about the importance of the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund. And that is exactly why I reached across the aisle to unlock some additional trust fund dollars for some of our critical harbor work. I worked with the donor ports like Seattle and Tacoma to provide targets for distributing those trust fund dollars. That funding is really key to ensuring high-quality port infrastructure and maintaining our national competitiveness. But the budget this year does not appear to meet all the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund targets. What steps are you taking to make sure the targets are met?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will just say I appreciate our conversation on this very subject about a month ago. We did not include the 12% set aside for energy and donor ports. And I appreciate the sensitivity of the dialogue that you engaged in and the statutory provision that was included that reflects the balance that Congress feels is important. So I'm committed now to ensuring as we move forward, you know, the threshold issue is our priority has always been to maintain authorized channels at their authorized depths and widths. And that's going to be an ongoing effort as priority one. But understanding the balance that Congress has sought through those provisions in WRDA, I'm committed to ensuring that in the next budget cycle we are looking, and I think this will help in the next work plan cycle, that we identify the donor ports and the energy supporting ports, that we identify what are those expanded uses that they anticipate, that they've identified as needs, so that we have that roster, that inventory of needs. And I'm committed to doing that and issuing guidance to ensure that we have that information available for the next decision-making process.
Well, as you know, I'm going to be watching that very
Yes.
closely. All right, thank you.